So Letitia Wright, and this was fresh. We just got this. Let me load it up real quick. So my man, brother Van Lathan, on the Higher Learning podcast, he actually got a chance to interview Letitia Wright. He did what I was hoping other journalists would do. And that was to ask the tough questions. And one of the questions, now here's the thing, he can't ask everything. He can't just go out there and straight up just be like, what's up with Recast TChalla? And, you know, like he was doing an interview for another movie that she was doing. And sometimes if you're a pro at it, you can slip in an extra little question there, right? So he was able to slip in a question for Recast TChalla. And, you know, I've spoken to Van personally. Great brother, he's very supportive of Recast TChalla. I'll put it that way. You know, we have had very good conversations. We talked. I met him at Star Wars Celebration. We had a very, very good conversation. Unfortunately, I can't reveal everything that we talked about, but I would just say that the fact that he was able to sneak this question in is huge. I'm just saying. He was not supposed to be able to do this. I don't think so. But the fact that he was able to, and he did it in such a cool, calm, collective way, fantastic. I mean, this is exactly what I would do if I were to get access to actually talk to them. So anyway, I do want to play that clip real quick. Let's get it set up. So this was him on the Higher Learning podcast. And he is asking Letitia Wright, aka Shuri, about recasting T'Challa. And here we go.
It was so jarring and hurtful to wake up that morning and see that we had lost Chadwick Boseman. And part of me is afraid to go to the film and have to go through that again. Like, it's actually giving me chills right now. What do you say to people who didn't want to see the character die, that wanted to see the character either recast or moved on to save themselves that pain or to keep the story of T'Challa going forward? What do you say to people?
Man, that's a very good question. It's hard because, you know, I understand, you know, as an artist, you have to be empathetic to what everybody's experience is, you know, with a story. And I understand how invested so many people are. It's hard for the outside world to understand what's happening for us as a team, because we are also grieving. So we are, as a team, trying to bring you something that honors him, because what we can't do is put it under the carpet. We can't just we can't just forget Chadwick Boseman. We cannot, you know, and we as a team are trying our best to bring you something that is honorable, something that helps you to join us and the Wakandan family on this journey of respecting his life, you know, because he did those films with all that he had going on.
Man,
and there's honor in that. There is respect in that, and one reason why we chose to continue doing the film is because like Ryan felt very strongly that Chad was just like, bro, like, you have to carry on, like you have to put this thing together and go out there and do it. So I would say to you to not be scared. We are very sensitive about how our audience members feel. We are with you guys. We are in pain with you guys, but at the same time, we want to bring you guys something that's honorable to our brother, something that's entertaining, and something that could leave a legacy, to add on to his legacy. And I hope you enjoy it.
So there's a lot to digest there. First of all, once again, shout out to my man Van Lathan for bringing up a very good question, a tough question. Yes, this is not something that the cast, I think, is going to have an easy time talking about. And I'm not talking about the emotional stuff. I'm talking about it's going to be very difficult for them to address what they want. Better yet, let me take that back. It's going to be very difficult for them to give the studio the automatic replies. It's going to be tough for them to do that, given the plethora of supporting talking points that we learned from Recast T'Challa. There's going to be so many things. Listen, this is one of the reasons why I brought up Recast T'Challa before production started, because one of my ulterior goals was that, hey, Marvel, I'm going to give you all these reasons on why you probably should recast or why T'Challa should keep going. And I'm giving you time to readjust. And you can readjust in secret. You can readjust quietly. You could sit here and be like, oh, yeah, we always plan to do that anyway. That's fine. I don't care. I don't care if you make me look bad. I don't care if you make the potential. I don't care if you be like, we were always going to do this. I don't care. Because what I care about is the franchise in general and the Black representation that comes along with it and the impact that it has on those that watch it and are inspired by it. I care about all of that. Like, I've never done this stuff for clout. I've never done this stuff for my name to get out there. I don't care about that. So I've put this stuff out here to really be like, it's almost like if you were a football team and I'm sitting here like, yo, here's the playbook. Here's the next play that we're going to run. It's going to be a pass play. I'm going to pass it to this guy. That's what Recast T'Challa was kind of sort of like. It was kind of like, yo, T'Challa matters. And I'm trying to show you that people know that he matters. And I'm trying to show you that if you don't continue this character's portrayal, here are all the ramifications and ripple effects of that potential decision. Adjust. And they always have time to adjust, because as I've demonstrated many times, Marvel changes and does things with their story in pre, mid, and post-production all the time. Like, for years, they've been doing stuff like that. Things would start out one way and they change up the story in the middle, they change up at the very end, or they add a post-credit scene, or they take something out. They do that all the time. So I want to give that shout out first to Van for asking the question. But as you could see, I think Letitia gave an honest answer. I do think her answer was honest. But if you notice, it's not as polished as like the other questions and answers. We've looked at some of their other things, their other interviews and stuff. This was probably the first time that they really was like, I didn't think I'd have to answer this yet. Like, maybe when the movie comes out, we could have gotten that question, but I got to answer this now. So I kind of want to go through parts of her answer and just kind of address a couple things. Let's get to the first part of what she said.
Man, that's a very good question. It's hard because, I understand, as an artist, you have to be empathetic to what everybody's experience is, with a story. And I understand how invested so many people are. It's hard for the outside world to understand what's happening for us as a team.
All right. So let's pause right there. First of all, definitely appreciate her empathizing, which I think if anybody can kind of pick up on, they are aware of Recast T'Challa. This is not something that like just started trending a couple days ago or whatever. They know what Recast T'Challa is. They know, they've had press meetings about these things. It's not something new for them. But I want to say a shout out and an appreciation to her directly for, at the very least, saying that they understand and empathize with the feelings. Because at the end of the day, whatever side you're on with things, you always want to, at the very least, be heard and understood. That's all, right? Now, when she was saying that it's very hard for us to understand what they're going through, I agree with that to an extent. Did we work with Chadwick Boseman? No. Were we on set with him all the time? No. Did we do, all the activities and friendships and stuff that they've had? No. There's no question about that. Obviously, they were very close. With that said, I think everyone was fully aware of the toll this was going to take on the cast. If anything, the first thing people were thinking about, for some people, before even the man's family, they were more concerned about the cast and crew. So all I'm saying is, like, we do understand how y'all feel. We know that you're probably still grieving and that this was difficult. Matter of fact, it was one of the reasons that I even asked, why would y'all even want to do this? Why would y'all, as actors, potentially, because we've seen leaked footage of a funeral scene or, all this other stuff or whatever, why, as actors, when you mentally have to put your headspace and your heart into a scene to replicate something that's so real, so new, so fresh, why would you want to keep doing that? Why would you even want to engage in that? That's the part, like, that's the question I want to ask them. Like, yo, how many times did you have to take, like, how many takes did it take for you to rehash a potential funeral scene for Chadwick that is obviously playing on the real life trauma of the actor, of your friend? You mentally did that? Like, God forbid, but like, if your loved one passed away and you were an actor and the movie called for you reenacting the funeral of your loved one, and this thing just happened, like, would you be okay mentally, emotionally? Like, wouldn't you need some time off or something? Like, that just seems kind of off to me. So again, hey, and here's the thing. If that's what they want to do, okay. I don't understand it. I empathize with y'all feelings, because from one human being to another human being, death obviously hurts all of us. So my heart does go out to them. I definitely don't understand why you'd want to subject yourself for the last year and a half rehashing this real life trauma baked into the fiction. That part I don't get. I don't get that. So if that's what she means from the cast, I'm like, you right, because I don't understand that. I don't understand why you would want to do that. And here's the reason why. There are other options. What I don't like about how this is framed, I'm not vilifying what they're doing. I'm not saying that the Marvel or the cast or crew are bad people. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, I don't like how they're framing this as if they had no other options to go about honoring their friend or to telling the story. Nate Moore kind of talked about it like, this is the only way we know how to tell a story. Really? There are no other ways? It is fiction. You do have a plethora of options when it's fiction. So I'm just respectfully pushing back that we do understand, or at least we sympathize right back with the cast and crew. But at the same time, I don't think that one set of feelings trumps the other. My feelings for Black Panther are no better or worse than Letitia Wright's, and vice versa. Same for however we feel about Chadwick. Like, the way I, want to honor this brother is no different, or, it shouldn't be compared to other people. Like, yo, do what you do individually. But I don't think it's fair to have one. The only one I would say that could trump anything would probably be his family, his wife, his brother, his mom, dad, whatever. Like, that's the only one. But they're not in charge of Marvel, so I get that. But anyway, let's go on to the rest.
Because we are also grieving. So we are, as a team, trying to bring you something honors him, because what we can't do is put it under the carpet. We can't just we can't just forget Chadwick Boseman. We cannot, you know, and we as a team are trying our best to bring you something that is honorable, something that helps you to join us and the Wakandan family on this journey of respecting his life, you know, because he did those films with all that he had going on.
Man, I can't even.
And there's honor in that. There is respect in that, and one reason why we chose to continue doing the film is because
before we get into that, I have a different opinion when it comes to honoring and respecting someone's work. I am a firm believer that the best way to honor someone's work when they pass away, when they die, whatever, is that you continue their work. You keep telling their story. And the notion of we're not going to recast T'Challa, because keep in mind, this is what all this is based on. You don't have to watch Black Panther Wakanda Forever to react to the notion and the declaration by Marvel that they just won't recast the character. So when people say like, oh, wait for the movie, why do I have to wait for the movie? They already said the problematic statement, which is we're not going to recast the role. That's the problem. It really doesn't matter what the movie does because the statement's already been made. But the idea of honoring and respecting the work that Chadwick did, let's do that. Because I thought we kind of already did that with the tribute video. It was a beautiful video. You had everybody on the set, on the people that work with him. They said kind words about him and all that. Like, we did that. Why does it have to be in the fictional storytelling when you have so many different options? You have time travel, you got magic, you got a multiverse, you got a lot of stuff that could happen. I gave y'all the blip theory that gives plenty of room for things to be retconned or even changed without any real effort. And yes, Marvel, again, makes changes until the movie comes out. So even if it's a couple weeks before the movie comes, Marvel will change things to the last minute. Look it up. It is documented. I'm not just making this stuff up. But I'm just like, the idea of honoring and respecting someone, I think, is more so continue what they did and find multiple ways to do it. Like a post-credit scene. Y'all could shoot something like maybe after the movie, y'all shoot something together and the cast speaks about it again or something. Like, there's so many different things that y'all could do. So many. But anyway, let's go on, because she about to say one more thing I don't really agree with.
Because like Ryan felt very strongly that Chad was just like, bro, like, you have to carry on, like you have to put this thing together and go out there and do it. So,
and I've talked about this too. Now, I've told y'all that before I did the whole Recast T'Challa thing, I didn't just do it like on an impulse move. I went and looked at like damn near every and any Chadwick Boseman interview. I looked at what his friends said about him, what his family said about him. I listened to all his speeches. Like, you know, I did a real deep dive. And here's the thing. I think it was the Trevor Noah, when he was on the Trevor Noah show, the Daily Show, and he did his little interview there. Chad was very involved. He was very involved. Like, he was the one that made sure that they had African accents. You know what I'm saying? Like, Marvel wanted to give them, black folks, African folks, European accents. And Chad was like, we don't do that here. Okay. So when you say things, whether it's, the cast, crew, Ryan, or whatever, that Chad would have wanted you all to continue, you're right. He would have, because he cared about the franchise. He cared about the depiction. He cared about the portrayals. He listened to all of his interviews during the press junket for Black Panther. He was very keenly aware. He was hyping up other characters. He was like, yo, I need people to see Okoye and my sister Shuri. I'm the main character, though. Right? He said all of this stuff. So is it accurate to say that he absolutely would have wanted them to keep going? Yes. The misleading part about that is I don't think he would have been on board with not recasting the role. His brother has said that. His brother, who, by the way, has known him longer than the cast and crew. His brother, who knew him all his life. His brother, who has, said that he's had conversations with Chadwick, and based on those conversations, he believes that Chadwick would want the role to continue. Of course, I have receipts. I will present those later. So it's a little disingenuous to push the notion that Chad would want this to continue, but also be cool with T'Challa ending. That is not consistent with the way Chad worked for the role, nor what his friends and family have said about him and how he views the roles, nor his own actions when it comes to looking behind him and making sure that actors get roles and good opportunities. So I get a little cringy whenever they talk about, like, yeah, Chad would want us to continue. Yeah, he would, but would he want you to kill him off for the second, third, fourth time? I don't think so. Let's also not forget the man had an option in his contract while he was facing cancer. He had an option in his contract to still be in Black Panther 3. That does not sound like somebody who'd be content with having his role end, especially when you find out. I got a video on that too. When you hear about Chadwick talking about how important T'Challa is. He knew what T'Challa. It was during like a speech, an award ceremony for Stan Lee, and he was giving Stan Lee props on making T'Challa, but at the same time, he realized how important T'Challa was. So, yes, it sounds good in saying like, yeah, Chadwick would have wanted us to keep going, but like, that doesn't mean he would have okayed everything and be like, yeah, kill my character off, kill that leading role off. That leading role that could go to another Black actor. Kill that off. That's not cool. But anyway, let's go on. She had something else to say.
I would say to you to not be scared. We are very sensitive about how our audience members feel. We are with you guys. We are in pain with you guys, but at the same time, we want to bring you guys something that's honorable to our brother, something that's entertaining, and something that could leave a legacy to add on to his legacy. And I hope you enjoy it.
Well, she says, don't be afraid, come and check it out. I mean, listen, I'm gonna go check it out. I ain't scared, it's also my job. And she's talking about legacies and all that. I mean, look, there are two things here. One, you can't have a legacy if you stop telling the story of that legend. No one talks about the $6 million man or the actor because it hasn't been recast. That should not be the case with Chadwick and T'Challa. Yes, you're going to have other people be Black Panther. That's not the point. We're talking about T'Challa. T'Challa is more important than the mantle of Black Panther. The issue that I kind of have with like the whole idea of like us trying to join in with the cast and crew is that I don't like this environment. I don't like this situation. It makes me very uncomfortable. I'm sorry. You're right. Some people do know who the $6 million man is, but people under the age of 30 without Googling probably don't. The average person under the age of 30, they don't talk about him. There are barely any articles. No one talks about Lee Majors. Y'all probably don't even know who Lee Majors is. I'm talking about the $6 million man, the Bionic Man. That just does not happen. But anyway, the problem that I have is the fact that I don't mind the cast and crew doing whatever they want to do in their time, in their space to honor their friend. I don't. Chadwick had a private funeral and it was not open to the public. Friends and family went there. They honored him. They did whatever they did in private, and that was cool. We had the public memorial video, the tribute video made for Chadwick. That was great. We all came together. We had that moment. We watched it on TV. We collectively mourned again after we had mourned after the news. Cool. What I don't like is what's happening now is the cast is now imposing their grief on us. The cast is now saying, because we want to grieve this way, we're going to impose it on everyone else. And I understand some people can say, well, you don't have to go watch the movie. You don't have to go see it. And that's true. But you can't tell me that a movie like Black Panther, whenever it comes out, isn't going to constantly be in the news. You can't tell me it's not going to constantly trend. You can't tell me that it's not constantly going to have articles written all about it. You cannot tell me that people are not going to play videos or post pictures or do anything and rehash everything again the moment this movie comes out. So what I'm saying is, like, imagine if you are one of those people that has already grieved, you've mourned multiple times and it's been 2 years, and you don't want to be subject to any of that stuff again. You can't escape it when a global movie through the Marvel machine comes out. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, the family, who, by the way, at least his brother, is pro Recast TChalla. They've mentioned how they're still grieving. We talk about empathizing with the cast and crew, but, like, again, I don't hear a lot of people talking about the family because a lot of people just assume that the family just agrees with whatever Marvel says or does. There's been nothing reported or documented to suggest that's actually happened. There's not one. I've been asking an open call, anyone and everyone, if there's anything that has been reported or documented of the family being fully in support of whatever the creative decisions are. Because again, this movie is dedicated to Chadwick. That's why the family input does kind of sort of matter, because they're dedicating this to Chadwick. If it was not dedicated to Chadwick, fine, Marvel, do whatever you want, but y'all trying to do this for Chadwick. There's nothing documented about what the family actually says, except for the fact that they believe Chadwick would have wanted the role to continue and to be recast. That's all. That's the only thing that's actually documented. Everything else is assumption and speculation that's not based on anything. Imagine the family having to go through that again. That's what I think about. I sit here thinking about, like, because I try to think about everyone. I try and think about the cast. I think about the crew. I think about the family. I think about us as the fans. I think about the little kids. And I'm like, yo, take a break with T'Challa if you have to. I get that. Take a break. Let's mourn. Let's have that pause and we ain't got to rush into this, but damn, like, y'all really want to pull us all into your collective grief? I don't think that's fair. Because like I said, even if you don't pay to go see the movie, you're still going to get those images. You're still going to get the commercials. You're still going to get the social media feed. You're still going it's going to be everywhere. For the people that don't want to relive the trauma with you, it's still not going to be fair because they're still going to be everywhere. Y'all can do whatever y'all want to do in private, but a movie is not a private affair. It's a global public thing. That's what makes me so uncomfortable with the cast saying, this is our grief. Here it is. Take it. Everybody don't grieve the same. I'm not saying their grieving process is terrible. What I'm saying is I don't like the outlet of it. I don't like I don't care if they wanted to do a personal reenactment at Chadwick's private funeral. That's what y'all could do in private. Y'all not inviting us to that. That's fine. Y'all do whatever y'all want to do. But y'all doing this for public consumption. That's where I get a little iffy with all that. So it's just, but listen, I've never sat here and attacked their motives or their hearts. I think that they all mean very well. I think that, who the hell is trying to call me? No, the hell? I think that they mean very well. I think that they're doing everything that they think is right. I just have a difference of opinion. That's all. Anyway, what do y'all think about Letitia Wright's comments? How do you feel about them? Let me know those in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. This was just a segment of one of my live chats, and if you're interested in joining in on the next one, be sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications for more. I've got more videos and reviews to do for you all, and until next time, I'll see you all later.